Hey, everybody.
Welcome to Wednesday night OWCP chats with Chris and Gini.
The other guy is back, ladies
And
and gentlemen.
he's back. He's not leaving me alone tonight. Although last week I did really have a great interview with
Oh, that was awesome.
Thomas. It was
I
awesome.
was watching it from my hotel room. It looked good.
Yeah. Thomas, and if you guys missed last week's chat, Thomas is with TSA. He's a vice president for New York and New Jersey airports. So if there's ever an issue that you're having and you're in one of those airports, reach out to Thomas. And whatever he says to do, you should absolutely listen to him. And we will be coming to New York at the end of September. So we're going to get a few of our local union presidents and we're just going to hang out and have a good time with some bourbon and cigars.
It's like my favorite pastime. So looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
And just a fun note, if you guys didn't know and if you didn't see it on my Facebook page, we did start our podcast page for Neat and Lit, where Chris and I will be talking about bourbon and cigars. So if you want to go follow that page because it's going to be so fun. And last night, what did we do? We had a bourbon pairing at Bonefish Grill. If you guys know about Bonefish, they're all over the United States, most of the states, but it was worth it.
Yeah, it was a great deal. Also, I mean, the price they charged for what they were giving us was really cheap, like insanely good. So if you get a chance to go do one of those, it was definitely worth it. And we made some new friends and met a former FBI agent at the
Yeah,
table with us,
so
and
cool.
and I always love that. Everyone knows I'm like a nerdy fan of federal law enforcement. So I'm not just saying that because of the position I'm in. I just actually am. So that was a lot of fun. It was a good opportunity.
And speaking of FBI and federal folks, we will be having Larry Cosme. He's with FLIOA. He will be coming on in a couple weeks, as well as federal attorney Darren. He's going to be coming on. He's going to be talking about what he does. We're going to try to get some more federal attorneys on here for you guys to ask certain questions. So look forward to that in the upcoming months. Also, a lot of you asked me, what's the date for our OWCP National once a year training? It's going to be the first weekend in August.
This is the
And
first I'm hearing of this.
yeah,
All right.
so it's actually August 2nd and 3rd. We're going to have 2 days and we are only going to be streaming this on Facebook. We are not going to do the Zoom and all the other platforms. So if you want to get on our training, it also be on YouTube. So between Facebook page here and YouTube, those are the only places. So you don't have to register or any of that. We want to know how many of you are going to be, coming on Saturday and Sunday, but there's nothing to register. You'll just come on here and we'll do our 3-hour training like we did last year.
Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah.
I'm going to be fatigued.
People ask for Saturday and Sunday because some people can't do it Saturday, some people can't do it Sunday.
But
So
we'll be doing it from this spot right here.
right here.
Good.
So it's the second annual Chris and Gini OWCP National Training where we educate.
Yeah, it's the same 3-hour course that I do when I'm at a live training event for unions.
Yep.
So everyone will have the opportunity to hear what you don't get to hear if you're not part of the union that I'm training at.
Yeah. And those of you APWU presidents,
Say that again.
APWU presidents that are going to be in Charlotte this weekend. We are looking forward to seeing you there. We have a few friends flying in from all over the country, some of the local presidents and the state presidents. So we are so excited that we get to see you guys again. So we will be there as of tomorrow night, actually.
Yeah,
tomorrow
night.
till Monday. And we have two of our favorite people coming with us are our two national case managers, Emmy and Jennifer. And you guys know that they were on here last week helping out with questions while I was doing this interview with Thomas. So
they make my life easier because they're so smart, so strong in OWCP. And so, you guys will be able to line up at the booth.
Yeah, and ask away.
Get all your questions answered in like 1/3 of the time you would have to wait because they'll be there as well.
Yeah, I'll be bringing my handy dandy calendar. So those of you that want to schedule us for next year's state or national convention, I will be able to pencil you in, as well as we are bringing some free giveaways, and we are bringing free volume 4 books. It's all about educating and getting the knowledge.
Yep. Which
So,
reminds me, pardon me for getting in front of the. These are supposed to be up here.
with that said, tonight we are talking about LWOP, limited duty, and leave buyback. What is it called? LBB.
Leave buyback. It does say it on the worksheet, LBB.
Oh, does it say? Yeah. So those are the three things. A lot of you keep asking, and I know you're trying to go back to some of the videos. So here's what happens. And I spoke to somebody yesterday that works directly with somebody with Facebook Meta. They are pulling all videos down. It's not just ours. They are pulling everybody's videos down.
They've lost space in the cloud.
Yeah, the cloud is so big at Facebook because everybody's doing lives and everybody's saving it. So your best bet, if you want to find any of our lives, they are all on YouTube, and it's the same name, Wednesday night OWCP chats with Chris and Gini. So all of our videos, we're going to try to extract as many as we can from 2016 and get them over to our YouTube page. So if you're ever looking for any of our videos, I will be directing you now to YouTube. These that we have on here can only stay up for 30 days. That's all that Facebook is allowing. It has nothing to do with anything else. This is what Meta has decided.
Which is crazy. But look, if you go back and look for the things in 2016, you're going to be underwhelmed. That's when we first started.
Yes.
And I remember we were sitting on a sofa in the little rent house we were at.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved into the bedroom because we needed more quiet. And our boys could not find a way to be quiet. And it was just like, it was challenging in the beginning.
It was. But here we are.
Yeah.
18,000 plus on Facebook, about 600 plus on YouTube, and between TikTok, Instagram, and all of our other, we have probably about close to 40,000 federal followers, and we're so thankful to you guys that you guys have been supporting us since 2016.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Go to YouTube and subscribe to Wednesday night OWCP chats.
Yeah,
and that way you are guaranteed to never miss a video.
Yeah, so all the videos, and like I said, if you want videos and you're trying to find them, they've been extracted. I think the 15th of July or something like that. They will all be completely gone. But we have an internal team that's going to push them over to YouTube. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
So tonight, again, we're going to talk about LWOP, leave buyback, and limited duty. So with that said, Chris, what do you want to start with first?
Well, I think we'll go ahead and start with LWOP.
All right. Hi, good evening, everyone.
LWOP leads into leave buyback, and then we'll do limited duty last.
So save your questions for the very end till Chris says, let's have the questions. And I'm going to go ahead and start sharing.
So LWOP stands for leave without pay, which means when you have a work injury on the job and you need to take time off after your claim is approved. Now, that's the key thing. Your claim has to be approved. So let's get those claims approved first. LWOP is how you can get paid when continuation of pay runs out, or if you don't have COP available to you, because maybe you have a CA2 claim or you filed your CA1 more than 30 days after the injury. So don't do that. File your claims before 30 days so you can have continuation of pay if you need it. What we want you to do is get to work as soon as possible. Obviously, everyone knows that's my philosophy, as if like I'm not a doctor. I don't get to have a philosophy, but I know that through talking to so many of you, that sometimes the biggest pain in an OWCP claim is not the injury. It's the system. It's the lack of getting paid, the stress of how you're going to be able to, make rent next month or whatever. So, we want you to be able to work. So keep that in mind. Get to work as soon as medically possible. But when you have to be out of work, they give you the opportunity to claim leave without pay, LWOP. The way that works is after your claim is approved, you need to fill out a form CA7, which is a claim for compensation. You can find all the forms on federalinjurycenters.com if you want to go there, or you can just go to Google and search OWCP form CA7. It'll be the first thing in Google. It's really easy to get to. CA7s are now filed on eComp, so they're done electronically. Just keep that in mind. But you can still find a version of it online so you can study it and understand what's going on. It's often easier to see it in paper and then go online and fill it out. So you elect LWOP. And then you have to fill it out perfectly on page 1. Page 2 is for your supervisor, and they need to fill it out perfectly. You all know how I feel about that. They're probably going to make a mistake. So you need to double check the work that your supervisor did to make sure your pay rate's correct. And, if there's any additional pay that's listed on there, make sure the CA7 is perfect, because it needs to be submitted to the claims examiner, and a less than perfect CA7 is going to cause it to be denied, and you won't get paid.
Yep.
So an LWOP, leave without pay, is done by filing Form CA7, and that's for if you need to be out of work on an injury claim that is approved. A denied claim or one that's in process is not eligible for LWOP yet. But even in that case, what you want to do is go ahead and start filling your forms out right now. Again, this is a great reason to get paper, because you can go ahead and fill it all out. And then that way, when it's time to do it online, you can just transcribe it, from the paper to online. It's not so overwhelming. Some people will, they'll wait like 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. And then they'll say, hey, can somebody help me fill out my CA7s? And they're overwhelmed. And many people just throw their hands up and say, forget about it. And I don't want you to do that. So begin filling them out right away. As soon as your claim is approved, you can start submitting those things and hopefully getting paid. Now I say hopefully, because the next thing is, let's say you fill it out perfect and you submit it and it's a perfect form, and even your supervisor didn't screw it up. You're still probably going to get denied payment because you did not submit documentation. So let's talk about documentation for LWOP. Number one, you need to, as I said, have your claim approved, but documentation, you need to attach a form CA17. That's your duty status report. If you're out of work, the only reason you could be out of work is because your doctor took you out of work. You can't just stay home. You got to see the doctor, and the doctor's got to take you out medically. And that doesn't mean you're off completely. Maybe you're on limited duty, which we'll talk about, which means you're at work sometimes, or you're doing some work when you're there full time. But we'll get to that in a second. So you want to attach the CA17 because that proves you're out of work medically, not just because you felt like it, right? OWCP is not a vacation, so make sure you have your CA17. The next thing you want to have is a form CA20. It's a attending physician's report. The CA20 basically says, hey, here's what's going on with the claim. This is what's wrong with you. And you want to attach that as well. And these are all uploadable. So the doctor will fill these forms out, the 17 and the 20. They'll fill it out, and you'll just upload it. All right. There's a way you can do that. You also want, if you're out of work because you're going to the doctor, get a printout of your appointments and upload those to prove you're actually at the doctor or wherever you were at because of your medical situation. Maybe it was an MRI or surgery or physical therapy or a doctor. And then you're over here having a good time, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then the last thing, and I think is probably the most important thing, is a report that we call a disability narrative. This is also done by the doctor, and it explains medically why you needed to be out of work. See, the 17, it says that you were out of work. The CA20 says, here's what's going on with you. But the disability narrative sort of connects the dots and says, medically, this person's out of work because of the following things. And you need to attach all those things. And when you do, you're likely to get paid. Like almost 100%, you're going to get paid. But if you leave these things out, especially the disability narrative, there's a really great chance you won't get paid. And that sucks. Because you're expecting a paycheck and instead you get a denial letter. And we don't want that. So it's really, really important that you fill out your CA7 perfectly. Your supervisor fills it out perfectly. You double check the supervisor. Then you attach the proper documentation. CA17, CA20, printout of appointments, and disability narrative. And if you can do all of that, you'll get paid. But again, remember, try to get back to work as soon as medically possible.
Yes.
Because as you can see, getting paid LWOP is like jumping through hoops. And it's a frustrating pain in the butt.
Yes, it is.
And so we don't want you to be frustrated. We want you to get paid with the least effort possible. And so if you can get back to work on the clock, the surest way to get paid is to clock in.
Clock in, folks. All right. Any questions on leave buyback?
No. That was LWOP.
LWOP, leave without pay.
Try to keep up.
Sorry, I'm reading these questions. I'm reading Terry from New York. Frank said, welcome back, the other guy.
Hey,
that's what
up,
I was
Frank?
laughing at.
Yeah, what's up, Frank?
Frank, I'm doing so much better. I'm getting the. I know we were all talking about what had happened to me the last couple weeks.
Yeah, she was struggling standing up.
Yeah, these dizzy spells were going back and forth. It's not as bad as it was. I mean, I'm slowly getting better. I still have a appointment scheduled with a specialist, so we're gonna see what that's all about. But I do believe it was some sort of medication I was taking that's causing it. But what else do we have here?
Any questions that aren't showing up here?
No, not yet. When you're tagging, if you're tagging, because I see some people tagging your coworkers or friends, when you're tagging, you have to put the @ sign and then their name, or else they won't see that it's popping up on that you're trying to let them know to watch this. Mary, clock in. Supervisors advised me not to clock in, but they did my payroll this coming pay, and I'm still okay with not
Am I still
clocking
okay with
out
not
with
clocking
not
in?
clocking in. Yeah.
I don't understand why would they if you're at work, well, of course you clock in. I mean, how do you prove you're at work?
Why would the supervisor say that?
I don't understand that, Mary. If you're at work to work, you should probably clock in. You've got to be able to account for your hours, and sometimes your time off is intermittent, meaning you're at work some and you're out of work some, which means you'll fill out a CA7A, which is a time analysis form, and you need to be able to prove your time in and out on the clock. So it doesn't make sense not to clock in. Um, with that said, I mean, if your supervisor's keying in your time, maybe they just enjoy inefficiencies and
Yeah.
they prefer to key it in. Make sure it's proper. Just make sure they keyed it in correctly.
Maria, is there a time where coworkers comp will use code 45 claim adjustment code reason code not to fully pay a doctor's visit? Yes, the claim was accepted.
Is there a time where workers' comp will use code 45 claim adjustment code reason codes not to fully pay a doctor's visit? You mean to pay the doctor? I mean, that doesn't happen that much. If you're talking about the doctor getting paid, they typically just get paid if they bill the proper codes and do the right documentation. They don't really have that problem if you're talking about the doctor.
Penny Story. Just finished my appointment with St. Louis FIC. They were able to get me back injections today and are setting me up with a caseworker to open 2 more cases. Thank you both for all the info. Keep up the fantastic job of informing everyone. My case started in 2021 and I would be nowhere without y'all in FIC.
Oh,
Oh, that's
thanks.
very sweet, Penny. Thank you.
Really happy to be able to help you.
Yolanda, do you have to fill this out every time you are out?
So the way this works, I saw a claimed examiner write a letter to a patient once and said, fill out your CA7s and turn them in every 2 weeks. So turn them in every 2 weeks.
Mary, DOL sent
And
us.
sorry, and the documentation. Yeah, I would submit that documentation with every single CA7. I would submit the documentation.
Mary said DOL sent us a letter stating my days at work and time at work only 2 hours a day for 5 days.
Yeah, I mean, so that would mean that your time is intermittent because you're going in for 2 hours and not 8. So you'll have to also fill out a form CA7A time analysis form.
Any more questions on LWAP? The reason why we're doing these 3 is because from 2 or 3 weeks ago, prior to when I was having the dizzy spells, we were off 2 weeks and then Chris was gone. A lot of you said you were looking forward to this. So whatever questions you have, bring it.
Yeah. It's really important to me that you get paid when you're out of work. It's more important to me that you get better and back to work. But I understand through talking to so many of you that it's so stressful for you if you're out of work and you're not sure if you're going to get paid. So I want to be able to help you with that. But again, I can't stress enough, the surest way to get paid is to clock in. So work with your doctor. I'm going to talk about limited duty assignments in a minute, and that's going to help you understand how you can get back to working on the clock.
So we just finished LWAP. Any more LWAP questions?
How do we do our pay now from work and DOL pay? I am so confused.
Okay.
Well, when you're on LWAP, you're going to get paid either 2/3 or 75% of your pay based on your numbers of what do you call those things? Like our kids are those when we're filing taxes.
Your taxes, child tax credit.
Oh, good Lord. There's no chance there's that. What I meant. Dependents. Child tax credit. Look what I'm dealing with here. Dependents.
Dependents.
Yeah.
There we go.
So they're going to pay you based on your numbers of dependents. I'm not sure if I answered that question. If I did not answer that, then ask me a different way and I'll see if I can do a better job. But how do we do our pay now from work and DOL pay? If you're at work, you're going to get paid on the clock. If you're intermittent and sometimes you're on LWOP, you'll get paid that 2/3 or 75% for LWOP. But you have to fill out that time analysis form to differentiate between the time you're at work and the time you're off work.
Victor said, when an employee is still working and have OWCP appointment, how many hours pay? To my understanding, it's up to 4 hours.
Yeah, you can be paid up to 4 hours of time off to go to the doctor or therapy or things related to getting better. Up to 4 hours of LWOP of your scheduled work shift. Supervisors hate this, so try to schedule it as far in advance as possible. Give your supervisor notice. I don't recommend just like calling in and saying, "Hey, I'm taking off today." Just try to schedule it and think about if you were one of the supervisors, what would you want from you, and do that. Try to make it as easy as possible for them not to give you a hard time.
Yeah. Victor, our national convention is not set in stone to be like the exact date. So if people are, I'm going to put 3 dates out there and see which one people would like preferably. So don't think that you won't be able to catch it. Like I said, it's going to be 2 days, but I'm going to put some dates out there, August and September, and see which one is going to be better for everyone.
So Maria Portal said workers' comp adjusted the payment, so they only paid half the visit. Well, all I can say is that's not your problem.
Unless there's some other issue you're having.
I wouldn't worry about it. The doctors are doing fine.
Yeah. Let's see. Go
Paul
back.
Wedge. What's up, Paul?
Let's see. All right, go ahead. You can go on to the next.
All right, so we talked about LWOP, leave without pay. And sometimes when you're out of work for a work injury, but you don't have your claim accepted yet, and you don't have continuation of pay, sometimes you use your own sick and annual leave. And that's not cool because like annual leave is vacation time and sick leave is if you're sick and you want to be able to have that available to you, right? A work injury is not the same thing as being sick, right? Unless the job caused the illness.
Right.
So we want you to be able to preserve your sick and annual leave for things needed for sick and annual time. Well, the leave buyback worksheet is how this is done. You should go take a look. It's called a form CA7B. You can Google that as well. Just Google OWCP form CA7B. The thing is, this worksheet is used for your supervisor to fill out. They have to fill it out. The first and second pages of the worksheet, and the third and fourth pages are like instructions and rules and stuff. So you do want to make sure that it's filled out correctly. Your pay rate and your date of injury and your numbers of dependents, it's all on there, right? And so the worksheet is there. And I have had a fundamental misunderstanding of the CA7B, which is shocking to me because I didn't think I misunderstood anything in OWCP.
It was a stump the chump moment.
But I stumped myself. None of you get the credit for that. That was me. But so here's what I realize now, and this is good for you. In most cases, you're buying leave back, but you're not paying for it. OWCP is. What you're going to have to do is fill out that CA7 claim for compensation, just like it's LWOP, right? And you're going to fill it out so that you can document all the time that you had off, the reasons you were off, and all that, right? You're going to attach all that same documentation we just talked about with LWOP. And then your supervisor is going to fill out the CA7B, this leave buyback worksheet. And they're going to send that in with your CA7 to OWCP. And OWCP is going to pay them for the time that you used in sick and annual, and then they're going to give you your sick and annual back. So that's pretty cool. The only times that you might owe money is if OWCP pays less than the original salary because they don't include things like retirement and FICA. And so you might owe a small difference, but usually the agency just withholds this amount from the payment, so you don't have to pay out of pocket. But most of the time what they're doing is, let's say the value of your sick leave or the value of your annual leave was $2,000. Well, what they do with this worksheet is they prove that it's $2,000. OWCP gives them the $2,000 and then you get your time back. So that's pretty cool. But I'm looking ahead of me, right behind my camera that's looking at me. I've got a screen that's showing me the CA7B, and I can see how a supervisor can really get confused and screw this up. So I strongly recommend that you double check it yourself because this is your time and your money. just like you're double checking the second page of the CA7 when the supervisor fills that out, double check this too. Communicate with management, make sure that it's done properly because it's your time and your money. But the leave buyback system is pretty cool. It's actually way more cool than I thought it was because OWCP pays them to give your time back. Here's the catch. If you don't fill out that CA7 properly, they're not paying them the time that you need to get your time back. It's a hassle, and I think that's built into the system anyways. But that's what leave buyback is. So if you understand LWOP, what I just explained on the CA7, and your supervisor can do a good job on the leave buyback worksheet, then you can get your sick and annual leave back that you used before your claim got accepted, and then you went on LWOP. So a lot of people will say, I'm just picking random numbers. Let's say you used 40 hours of annual leave because your claim wasn't approved yet and you filed your claim late, so you didn't have COP. All right, well, you used 40 hours. Then your claim got approved, and now you get to get paid LWOP based on what I just taught you in the beginning. Well, I want my 40 hours back. That's what leave buyback is for, is to get that 40 hours of time back. So now you can go on vacation in the summertime with your kids.
Yeah.
So that's as simple as I can explain that. I'm happy to answer questions about that too.
Don't forget, it's 4 pages on this form, and it has the directions too. So like Chris said, I'm looking at it. It can get tricky. So make sure you're paying attention line by line and then have the instructions right next to you.
So first, let me say hi to Judy from Jacksonville.
Judy.
Nice to see you here. And then Maria said some supervisors don't allow roll carriers to take half days off. That's correct. Usually, if you're a roll carrier and you have to take 4 hours of your 8-hour shift off, you're just going to have to take the whole day. And the whole day is now LWOP because if the supervisor won't give you the 4 hours, you have no choice but to take the whole day. And now you have 8 hours of LWOP. But remember to document that I'm taking 8 hours and not 4 because supervisor told me I couldn't have 4.
Yeah, document that.
Document everything.
100%. And this is why we're explaining this in detail.
Yeah.
What questions do you guys have on leave buyback?
Because we're just blowing through this, but I love the limited duty assignment conversation because usually people want to throw everything they see once I teach it. They're like, I can't believe that's actually the rule. And but I'll get to that in a minute.
Mary said, in order to get it back, if you buy it, right, you need to buy it to get it back. Am I right?
No, what this is saying is OWCP is based on this worksheet and based on your CA7. OWCP pays the agency so that they will give your time back.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Ellie wants out.
All right. Lewis said, what if you used your time after you got accepted because you didn't know what you got? You didn't know that you got accepted.
Buy it back. There's no rule against it. So it's okay. I just gave one scenario, which was using your vacation time before the claim's accepted. But anytime you use your own time, if you can prove with the CA7 that you are owed that time back and your supervisor will fill this worksheet out, the leave buyback, you can get that time back.
Yeah. Let's see. If you're on OWCP, will the leave you were fronted start to decrease through the year if you're still out on OWCP? Example, I've been out since October, but my AL is decreasing every paycheck.
I guess it accrues based on your time at work. That's what it sounds like to me. So I would speak to your union about that. Go talk to HR and double check that, but it's probably not accruing at the same rate as it would if you were on the clock.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me. I'm probably right about that.
Kathy, you definitely can retire, but this is for everybody that's going through the retirement phase. Make sure you file your claim before you retire. But yes, you can still continue with your benefits when you retire as long as you filed your claim before you retire.
Yeah, now let's be clear. That's not actually a rule, although we teach it. I do too, that you need to file your claim prior to retirement. There's no rule that says you can't file it afterwards. But I'm telling you, it's going to be one hurdle after another to have to jump over. Not to mention, supervisors are going to say, this didn't happen at work. You're retired.
Yeah,
so
that's
just
exactly why.
Do it in advance and avoid that argument.
Let's see. How long can you wait before you file to get it back? Been out 3 years now.
Okay, so as soon as your claim's approved, start filing your CA7s. immediately. Like start getting paid right away. Don't wait. There is a cutoff to that. I can't remember if it's 1 or 2 years, but the bottom line is it shouldn't matter to you. You start filing your CA7s right away as soon as your claim's approved. As far as leave buyback goes, I read this whole thing. There's no rule against it, so just like do leave buyback. Get your time back.
What other questions, folks? All right, we're gonna move on.
So, all right, we've talked about leave without pay. We've talked about how to get your sick and annual leave back with leave buyback. And now let's talk about how to get back on the clock if you have a work injury, but you're not ready to go full duty. Those are limited duty assignments. Again, I am a strong advocate of getting back on the clock because you heard all the hoops you got to jump through to get paid if you're off the clock.
All right.
And it sucks, but it's reality. And so we don't want that. So if you can get back on the clock, even at a limited capacity, whether it's limited hours or a limit to the amount of weight you can lift or amount of driving you can do or the amount of walking you can do or stairs you can climb, whatever. We want you to get back as soon as medically possible. That means soon and not get injured. Well, the limited duty assignment is what gets you back to work without further injury or without re-injury. But most people have an extreme misunderstanding of how this works.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, just like raise your hand if you're sitting there and you've heard or someone's told you to sign under protest because your supervisor is giving your limited duty assignment. They're putting it in front of your face saying, sign this now. And if you don't sign it now, maybe it won't be available tomorrow, right? So that's not the rule.
Right.
The rule is way better for you than that. Management just doesn't understand the rules. Now, you can search this yourself. This is my
That's volume 4.
I'm not here to sell books. I'm just telling you. On page 35, I've got a chapter that said, don't be bullied into accepting limited duty offers. You know, it's funny. This is actually the first book I ever wrote. And I was looking at it today, and I wrote this during the COVID lockdown. Again, I'm not trying to sell you this book either. I'm not even sure if it's for sale. Maybe it is, but anyways, I'm really not trying to sell you books. But during the COVID lockdown, I wrote that first book literally in 3 days, cover to cover, start to finish. It was at the printer, ready to be published in 3 days. It was like a superhuman effort.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta say, I know I'm talking about myself. I didn't sleep that much for 3 days, but I did write the first of its kind in an OWCP book for injured workers. And I just realized today that I wrote about this in that book.
Did you?
I literally wrote about this thing in that book and forgot that I did. And I just saw it today. I went, turns out I've known about this for a long time. So I know so much that I forgot what I know. But here's what happens. Your supervisors are saying you have to sign this right now. And you're being told, due to no fault of anybody, okay, they're just trying to protect you, to sign under protest because you may want to go show it to your doctor and it may not work for you, right? Or maybe it doesn't match your CA17 limitations and you have the risk of getting hurt on the job because your supervisor wrote a limited duty assignment that doesn't match your doctor's orders. See, the key is this: the limited duty assignment must match the doctor's restrictions. That's the whole point. So I'm not going to read the exact rules to you. I'm going to tell you what the rules are. And this is going to blow your mind if you've never heard me tell you about it before. If you've got my books, it's in book 1 and 4, though. You have 30 days to evaluate and accept that limited duty assignment.
We keep telling you guys this.
30 days.
Yeah.
The Code of Federal Regulations states that the supervisor gives you your limited duty offer and sends a copy to the claims examiner. Well, why in the hell would they send it to the claims examiner if you have to sign it right now? What's the point?
Yeah.
Well, the claims examiner has the opportunity to review it as well and then make a determination as to whether or not they think it matches your doctor's restrictions. And then the claims examiner will notify you that they think there's a valid limited duty offer. And then they give you 30 days to review it with your doctor. There's another in the Code of Federal Regulations that specifically states you get to review it with your doctor. Well, they give you 30 days. That's the whole point. And then if after reviewing it with your doctor, you come back and you say, this assignment doesn't actually match my limitations, we disagree, then OWCP will give you another 15 days to figure it out. So it's technically up to 6 weeks of time that you have to review these things. Now, I always say, if you get a limited duty offer today, take it to your doctor today. Accept the offer tomorrow, like as soon as possible, of course. Why? Because get back on the clock. because once you're on the clock, you stop jumping through hoops to get paid. But just understand that you don't need to be bullied into accepting limited duty offers now. You are not a doctor, neither is your supervisor. Only your doctor can be qualified to review the offer and see whether or not it matches the doctor's restrictions.
Yep.
I can't do that. She can't do it. You can't, and neither can your supervisor. Only your treating physician. So that doctor needs to review the offer and make sure it matches the restrictions, because the doctor is responsible for keeping you safe at work. Now, management's also responsible for keeping you safe at work, but the doctor really cares about it probably more than management does.
Right.
I think. I'm sure there's some supervisors that are just incredibly great and want you to not get hurt. But if that's the case, you're not required to sign these limited duty offers on the spot. You have 30 days.
Yeah, we said this a while back. It could be, I mean, how many messages did we get where we saw people saying they're giving me 7 days or 14 days or even 24 hours that I needed to sign? And this is why we did this a while back.
Yeah, they're making me sign it right now under protest.
you
And by the
don't-
way, that under protest thing is nowhere in the rules.
No.
That's not in the law. That's not how this is done. It's just how you're doing it because you didn't know better.
Yeah,
And now you do.
Yeah, as Victor said, these supervisors are mismanaged or uninformed. They are.
Yeah, and I want to give your managers, your supervisors the benefit of the doubt, but I can't. So what you need to do is know the rules better than them, which since you've listened to me tonight, you already do. And then take up for yourself. And you can also get with your union and get help. You can cite the specific laws and make sure that they understand you're not just making stuff up. Here's what the Code of Federal Regulations says. Somebody did ask how they can get the books. Go to breakingowcp.com. If that doesn't work, let me know. I think they're only like $5. They're PDF downloads, but what do you care? I used to say download it to your phone, put Breaking OWCP in your pocket, right? And that's the whole point. I wanted you to have my books in your pocket. What is in your pocket all the time? Your phone. So if the phone's in your pocket, the book's in your phone, the book's in your pocket.
Yeah, and if you're going to be at this president's convention that we're attending this weekend,
we give them away for free.
We give these free. Just come by and scoop one up or two for your union. Maria, you asked if your case needs to be accepted before you retire. No, as long as it's just submitted before you retire.
Right. Yeah. Great question too, Maria. Thanks for asking that. Yeah. Just get your claim filed before you retire.
Kathy said, had rotator cuff surgery and still have a tear. What happens next?
Okay, so that's a doctor question. All right. You have rotator cuff surgery and your shoulder's still not right. You need to get back to the doctor. The doctor will do a number of things. Who knows? Maybe another surgery, maybe more therapy, maybe additional restrictions. I can't think like a doctor. I'm not sure how to do that, but definitely take that to your doctor and find out what they think you should do, and then do that exactly. Always follow your doctor's orders.
Yep. Frank, they advance you AL leave in the beginning of the year, but you are not working for the post office, so every paycheck they take 8 hours of annual leave.
Okay, so that's the answer to that other question earlier.
Yep.
Sorry, my dogs are being a pain in the butt tonight.
Dr. Steflik with FIC Jacksonville said he's also here to serve. Thank you, Chris and Gini, for the knowledge.
Yeah, you're welcome, Tim.
Maria. Oh, I just read your question, Maria. Let's see. Anika Blake. Speaking of bullying, I was offered a limited duty position twice based off the CCOP report. I was harassed by the attendance coordinator and management via email until the occupational health coordinator requested a suitability from OWCP just yesterday. OWCP determined the job was not suitable.
Yep. And that's why these things go into the claims examiner first.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what do you have? You have your supervisor making mistakes and making you have to live with those mistakes. Well, the claims examiner is like a second layer of protection for you. And then the best layer of protection is the claims examiner saying, now show it to your doctor. You have a month.
Yeah.
So that's a good system when it's followed. It's a great system. It's how it should be, because the doctor should be running the show when it comes to this. And then once you're 100% back and you're all better and it's all healed up and there's no more tears and you're strong enough to get back to work, you go to work and it's all over.
If someone does not have a license to practice medicine, you should not be taking advice.
Yeah.
Period.
I'm not doing it.
You can ask us all the time what we advise, and we're going to tell you to talk to the doctor. That's
I
not.
advise you to speak to your doctor.
Yeah, that's all.
And
That's the only advice we're going to give. Speak to your doctor.
it's the best one. If I was a doctor, I'd probably still tell you to go talk to your own doctor.
And if your supervisor is not taking the advice of the doctor, you need to go to the union.
Yeah, for sure. File a grievance.
Yes.
You may want to contact OSHA, 1-800-321-OSHA, because OSHA is very concerned about your safety and your health at work. So S and H are safety and health, right? So go ahead and contact them too. And you don't have to file a complaint. I'm not suggesting that, but you may ask some questions like, hey, this is what's happening. Is that an OSHA violation? And if it is, then maybe you'll have some help. I've seen it before.
We are going to be talking to somebody that actually trains on OSHA tomorrow night. So we have some questions we're gonna ask them. We're having dinner with them tomorrow. Tanya, my surgery was disapproved, and I spoke to my doctor, and he said I need to have the surgeon write I need surgery, and he will send the rest about my case. My time expires on June 20th with DOL. How do I get an extension to report back to the claims examiner?
Well, I'm not sure what time is expiring. You do have 12 months from every denial to reconsider, so that could be a time that's expiring. What your doctor said is you need a letter of medical necessity from the surgeon. That makes sense too. If your claim is approved, but here's the other deal. I don't know what your body part is that's injured. Let's just say for a second it's your shoulder, okay? And let's say that your approved diagnosis is shoulder sprain. You are never, ever, ever going to get a surgery approved for a sprain, okay? Because claims examiners are going to say sprains are not surgical. Now, I don't know, but probably not, right? Because they just heal. So what you'll need is a diagnosis expansion that basically gives the worst diagnosis. Maybe you have a rotator cuff tear, right? So you need to add that rotator cuff tear to the approved claim of sprain. Once that's added, then they'll almost automatically approve the surgery. So these are things a lot of people don't understand. It's your claims examiner is not just being a jerk. They're saying you just have a sprain. I'm not approving a surgery for a sprain. Put some ice on it or whatever. So make sure your approved diagnosis matches what the doctor is trying to do surgery for.
Mary said, actually, in my first day of work, the 5 pounds was changed to 10 pounds. I told them it's not matched to my doctor say 17. They made the mistake from 10 to 5 pounds. Is it right? Is it legit? Is it correct? Please help.
The only way I can answer that is that if your doctor said 5 and your supervisor made a mistake to 10, but then changed it back to 5, you're all set. The key is that your limited duty job matches your doctor's restrictions. It's 100% a medical decision. So if your doctor said 5 and your supervisor said, oops, sorry about that, and they moved it back to 5, it sounds like you're good to go.
Jamie Reed came on late, but can I ask about leave buyback? If you use 12 weeks of leave, AL, SL, and LWOP combined, plus with all the fall holiday, don't those have to be paid back? The paperwork was very intimidating. Also, what happens with your salary if it's earned different than what you filed on your taxes?
Well, okay, so the leave buyback form is gonna this, it's basically detailing how your salary works. The second page of the CA7, the claim for compensation, does the same thing. You're going to fill that CA7 out for your 12 weeks of sick and annual leave that you used. If you're at work some, you're also going to fill out a form CA7A, which is a time analysis form. And I know these are intimidating. They are absolutely intimidating. You can get help with these. Your unions, stewards are often really good at helping with this stuff. Sometimes the HR will be helpful. There's like some small percentage of time supervisors will even help you.
Or you can call any of our offices and speak to the case manager.
And we're happy to help too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you can get all of that time back as long as you include the documentation that I talked about earlier. I know you just got on. Go back and take a look at the very beginning of this. That's when I was talking about LWOP. And then once you have LWOP nailed down, leave buyback is much easier.
Tanya said, my husband had surgery in January and DOL paid a portion of it. And now the hospital is charging my husband for the balance. It was on the job injury. What do we do about that? We hear this all the time.
Call your claims examiner and tell them what's happening. Here's the deal. When a doctor accepts OWCP, that is the only payment they're allowed to take. They can't balance bill you. That's what that's called. They can't take $1,000 from OWCP and then another $1,000 from you. OWCP has a set fee schedule for everything a doctor could possibly do. If you can imagine it, there's a fee schedule for it. When the doctor bills OWCP, that's all they're able to get paid. So doctors in hospitals and whatever, they're like, well, I want $5,000 for my surgery. Well, maybe the surgery, the fee schedule is set at $2,000. That's all they're allowed to get. So if they're balance billing you, call your claims examiner and see what they can do to help you.
Mary, you don't have to say that you're asking a lot of questions. This is why we do this.
Yeah,
We
we're so
want
happy to
you.
have you here asking
Yeah,
questions.
this is why we have this. We want you to ask your questions live. So you can shoot 100 questions and we'll answer them. Tim, leave buyback have any time limit?
Not that I'm aware of. I need this back. But I'm gonna answer that question shortly. Hang on just a second.
Talk amongst yourselves, as Chris would say.
As we're talking, our one of our sons is upstairs. He probably weighs half of what I weigh, and he walks around like he's the Incredible Hulk.
He does. We know when he's leaving, coming and going.
Talk to him.
Yeah, hold on. Kathy, management not given restrictions. I feel I shouldn't be given a percentage of pay when injured on the job.
I didn't say ask me another question.
Oh, I thought you meant you.
Okay. So officially, there's no hard deadline written in the regulations. However, OWCP follows a general principle of timely filing and will deny leave buyback if it's unreasonably delayed, especially if too much time was passed to verify leave, if payroll records no longer exist, and if the employing agency can't accurately reconstruct the leave or pay. So I would say do it within 1 year. That's generally like the accepted thing to do, is get your leave buyback done within 1 year of using your time after your claim is approved. You could do it in 1 to 3 years. They may accept it, and after 3 years, you may have a hard time. So just try to get it done as soon as humanly possible, but it's not in the rules.
All right. So Kathy said, management not giving restrictions. I feel I shouldn't be given a percentage of pay when injured on the job.
I mean, I always say fair is not written into the system.
That's just the rules.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Whoops. Where did all my questions go? There we go.
So Luis said he tried buying volume 4 along with the other books, and it says the link is no longer available. Yeah. So that site has been down. I'm rebuilding it. That's why I wasn't sure if it's working. But I'll get it back up as soon as possible. Sorry about that. Thanks for trying.
Christine Richards, my union president told me to sign and put under duress. My postmaster told me she didn't interrupt the code of regulations as I did.
Interpret probably is what you meant, but yeah.
Oh, I took her a copy of the code of regulations and she said she still didn't agree. Next step.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
These regulations are written in English. So you don't really need to agree. They are what they are. It's like you have 30 days. Well, I don't agree with that. Too bad. It's the law.
Wait, your union president told you to sign under duress?
No. Well, that's where it normally comes
Jeez.
from. And they don't mean they're trying to do the best job they can for you. And they didn't know this 30-day thing until I start teaching it. So file a grievance for sure. On the supervisor that said they disagree with the law. What do you mean? You disagree with the law? Okay, well, I think that driving 65 miles an hour is dumb. I drive a Jeep. It doesn't really like to go that fast anyways. But whether I disagree with the law or not, it's irrelevant. That's the posted speed limit.
Tanya, you said, is it the claims examiner for OWCP or DOL?
So OWCP is housed under DOL, and the claims examiner works in OWCP. So it is the claims examiner at OWCP inside of DOL.
Cass said, hello, filed an occupational injury backdated a year prior, used sick leave and before, see a doctor for the first time, got approved. Can I buy the sick leave back?
Absolutely. Leave buyback is for annual or sick leave. Or annual and sick leave.
All right. So far we're all caught up. All right. So we talked about leave buyback. We talked about LWAP, and then we talked about limited duty. What questions do you guys have on any of those three that we didn't cover?
Yeah, I like this topic. When she told me 5 minutes before we got on, this was going to be our topic, I was like, oh, all right. Well, this is a good one because getting paid is so critically important. When you're injured and can't work, the rent is still due. So we like to be able to help you get paid. But remember, going to work is the surest way to get paid. And that's why that limited duty thing is so key. because often you don't have to be back full duty to be able to get back on the clock. And that's what we want you to do, is get back on the clock so you stop jumping through hoops. But just a quick recap: LWOP is leave without pay. You fill out a form CA7 and attach the documentation we were talking about before. That's how you get paid LWOP. Your claim has to be approved first.
Yes.
Those same CA7s are used to go along with your leave buyback worksheet, which a supervisor fills out. It's a CA7B. And then when you're finally ready to get back to work at some level, that's limited duty. And the supervisor's got to give you a limited duty offer that matches the restrictions on your doctor's CA17. And then they give it to the claims examiner as well. And the claim examiner will afford you 30 days to review it with your doctor. And I always say this, I recommend that you review it with your doctor today, if possible, tomorrow at the latest, and get back to work on the clock and stop jumping through hoops as soon as medically possible.
Yep. All right. So we're finishing up here. Let me just tell you where we're going to be. Where is Chris and Jeannie going to be? So we head out tomorrow for the APW National President's Convention in Charlotte. So again, those of you that are there, come by, say hi, come and pick up a Volume 4 book. Come ask your OWCP questions. We have our 2 case managers that are going to be there, Emmy and Jennifer. So you always wonder who they are. They're going to be there. Some of you have met Emmy before. Cecilia. Oh, wait, Mary. Kathy. They're not giving limited duty. Are you a roll carrier?
Well, I mean, sometimes they don't. And if they don't, then you're out of work and your documentation is because they won't let me work.
Yeah. Mary said, surgeon doctors just waiting for my MRI results anytime now. Since I started like duty job, and if I ever have another tear in my shoulder, do I need to file for another case or just continue with what I have?
Well, that depends. That's a medical decision too. So, if you get re-injured, you got to ask your doctor, is this the same injury or a new injury? And then you handle it accordingly.
Thank you. Good to know this stuff. My claim was just accepted, so knowing to fill the proper paperwork now will keep things moving.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad this is helpful.
And then let's see. Anika Blake. I've done an FCE a week ago and a follow-up with my doctor in a week. The report was uploaded to eComp. What happens after this? It says my overall PDL is sedentary work.
Well, the FCE is just there to give the doctor sort of a scientific backing. What is happening upstairs? I think they're rearranging my upstairs. Is to give the doctor a scientific rationale for how to fill out a CA17. So what the FCE does, it says, here's what this person's capable of doing. And now the doctor's not really guessing. Okay, it's a science-based way to fill out your restrictions on your CA17. The report's uploaded to eComp. What happens after this? Have your doctor redo your CA17 and give it to your supervisor.
Yep.
That's your responsibility.
Mark said, I started my limited duty for 2 hours and I was given a job offer after working 20 minutes into my shift. What a joke.
Yeah.
What?
They'll jerk you around sometimes, Mark.
I had surgery April 9th. Still no PT has been approved. Eek, have you spoken to your doctor?
Well, the way you get surgery approved, assuming your claim is approved and they approve surgery, is for your doctor to request the therapy that you need and write a letter of medical necessity to go with it. And they upload that because the doctor uploads all that on eComp as well. We don't have a lot of experience with people being denied for therapy after surgery, so I'm not sure why that would happen.
Right.
I'd be more than happy to try to help you with that. But bottom line is your doctor's just got to prove why therapy is necessary. And post-op therapy is like the most common thing in physical therapy.
Yeah. All right, guys. So again, we're going to be in Charlotte this weekend, starting tomorrow. Then we head out to Phoenix, Arizona on the following Monday, on the 30th. July, we have 4th of July. And then we are going to be headed to Dr. Steflik is having an open house in Daytona Beach. We will be there. Chris will be doing his 30-minute mini OWCP training. Let's see. Where do we go to next? We'll be in Las Vegas.
Oh, shucks.
We're going to be in Chicago. And then we're going to be with the BOP at their national convention. And that's it that we have so far.
Where's that national convention at?
It's in Margaritaville in Fort Lauderdale.
I love going to Fort Lauderdale. That's where we met, Fort Lauderdale. She had the good fortune to meet me in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. changed her life forever for the better. I mean, she's so blessed to have me. Um, obviously.
Tanya, I'm eligible to return March of 2026 if I'm out on OWCP due to a job injury surgery. Do I wait until I'm back before retiring?
That's a personal decision. I can't tell you that.
Right.
I don't even know the answer to that. You got to figure that out. You and your doctor, your union, your family. That's a very personal decision. There's no rule about it. Just so you know, if you're asking about rules, there's no rule on that one.
Yeah. Mark Albert, I'm on limited duty for 2 hours at my office. I was also placed on vocab rehab after the second opinion. Now the vocab rehab is placed on 60 days to check on me. Is she going to be removed and the rehab will be closed off my case?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I think most of the time they want to do whatever in your best interest, and I don't think. And again, there's not a rule on that either. So I don't think that's necessarily the case.
What Maria said, keep all copies of your paperwork. She's absolutely right. I mean, you can always pull them from your eComp account, but if I were you, I would screenshot them with my phone and then I would email it to myself. I mean, that's what we do with things that we want to keep. Just screenshot it and then email it to yourself. That's never going to go away.
So Judy just gave me the compliment that I like the best. She said Chris is funny, and I don't know if I'm funny or not. I don't know, but you know what I just thought of is that line in Goodfellas. She goes, "How am I funny? Funny how? I'm a clown. I amuse
Oh
you."
yeah, with Joe Pesci.
Thank you, Judy.
All right, guys. Well, we're back. And we will be back next Wednesday.
We'll be in
as
Chicago
well.
in August, by the way. When we get closer to that, Mark will let you know.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, I don't have the address on hand,
Or
but
date.
or date. Yeah. But thank you guys for coming on with chats tonight. I'm gonna do a little post and ask what topics you guys want us to continue educating and training on.
That matters a lot. I don't
Yeah.
want to just sit here and talk about things that don't matter to you. So I can talk expertly on any topic in OWCP. So you got to let us know what you need.
So don't forget, again, if you are a president, local or state with APWU, we are going to be in Charlotte as of tomorrow. Chris and I, and then Emmy and Jennifer will also be there on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So bring your questions, come grab some free stuff, come say hello, get us scheduled at your state or national convention. And then what else? Then we head to Phoenix on the 30th of June. So if you're in Phoenix and want to come by and say hello, let us know. Private message me. I'll tell you where we're going to be.
I'm just going to answer a couple of things here. Jamie said, when I go to a second opinion, what should I expect? Expect the doctor to be in the room with you for like 5 minutes, barely look at you, not touch you, and then write a report that's not good for you. Occasionally that doesn't happen. So you may be the lucky one. But document everything that happens. Document the second you get there to the minute. Okay, document. I arrived at 12:52 p.m. Document the time you went into the room. The nurse or medical assistant brings you back. I got into the room at 12:56 p.m. Document the time the doctor walks into the room. The doctor walked into the room at 1:02 p.m. And then the time the doctor leaves the room, exactly to the minute, document it, and then document everything that the doctor said to you that happened while you were there. The other thing I'd like you to do is take a copy of your CA-17 and CA-20 to the doctor. They often don't have the records that you want them to have to make determinations that you need them to make. The other thing I would ask is, what questions did the claims examiner ask of you? Because claims examiners send these doctors very specific questions they want answered. And I would want to know from the doctor, what questions are you being asked to answer, and then help them answer those questions appropriately. They often don't have enough information, or if they do, they don't pay attention to it. They don't read it. So help yourself by helping the doctor do a good job for you.
Yeah.
And by the way, that documentation of time and everything that happened, upload that to eComp.
Gerald Adams. Hey, Chris and Jeannie, when are you guys coming to Maryland, or do I have to take you guys out to lunch to get you here? When we get invited to something, we will definitely be there. I know everybody wants us to come and hang out
And you
with
don't have to
us.
take us to lunch. You don't have to do
No.
anything for us. It's just our travel schedule is dictated by who invites us
Yeah,
places.
it's you guys out there, and we can only be invited by somebody from the union. So
Not just somebody from the union. That's
it
not
has to
correct.
be. Well, I
A
wasn't
union
finished.
officer, like a president.
I wasn't finished. He never
Uh,
makes me finish.
I
Yeah.
don't make you finish.
No.
I'm not sure that people understand your English.
It has to be someone from the union, vice president, president, secretary, or treasurer, and it has to be emailed to us so it is legit. A lot of you are always saying, "Hey, we're having this convention. We'd like you to come." Well, unfortunately, you're not a part of the official union
Edgar
office.
wants to know if we'll be at the NRLCA National Convention this year in Orlando. Edgar, I'll tell you what. No. For some reason, we never get invited out there. And we'd love to. We love the rule carriers. We've got so many friends who are rule
Yeah.
carriers throughout the country. You wouldn't even believe it. Well, you might believe it. But for whatever reason, the National Rural Letter Carriers Association just doesn't like us to be there. But if you can get us an official invite, we would be so happy to go because we have so many friends there. We'd love to do it. We love rural carriers. We think you guys get the short end of the stick way too often. And I love being able to help you. We used to get to do that.
Yeah.
But then we were asked not to do
go.
it anymore.
Yeah.
So when we were asked by your union not to do it anymore, we stopped. We complied with them. But we'd be happy to do it. We love you guys. We love your union too. I love everything about it. I love your national office in Alexandria, all about it. So if we were able to get back invited, we'll be happy to go. We love roll carriers.
Yeah. Frank, are you guys coming to New York in the near future? You know what?
We
We are
are.
going to be in New York and New Jersey the last week of September. I think that's starting the 22nd through the 26th. So we will be there. We will be inviting you guys out to wherever we're going to be. We'd love to meet up with all of our federal friends. So I will, as we get closer, we'll let you know where we're going to be.
Yep.
Mark, you guys are the best. Thank you. Anthony, I went to my second opinion with OWCP Doctor May the 6th for a rating to determine my schedule award and have not heard anything back. What would be the time frame they have to get back to me?
Call your claims examiner. Leave a message when they don't answer. They'll transcribe that message, and the claims examiner will then read it and respond to it.
The NRLC doesn't want to deal with comp employees at all. That's why. Aw.
Well, I mean, that may be true,
It
Jenna,
sucks,
but
but
we do. And tell your friends to come here, and we're happy to help everybody.
Todd, I'm an RCA and I'm listening to your live feed. Awesome.
Glad to have
No,
you, Todd.
we know that all the crafts of USPS listen to us, but it's at the national level.
And don't get me wrong, that's what I just told you just happens to be a fact. I'm not bad mouthing your national office.
Yeah.
It just is a fact. You asked the question, I answered it. We're not angry about it. We're here teaching you, and we're going to continue doing that. But if your national office would like to have us out training, or your state offices want us to come train, we want to do it. We are so dedicated to this and passionate for rural carriers. We're happy to do it.
Yeah. Frank, we'll make it a point to make sure that you get to see us when we come to New York in September for sure.
Can't hardly wait. Well, listen, guys, it's been just over an hour. We're so happy to be here. I'm glad that the other guy is back with Gini tonight.
Yeah, the other guy.
It was a great topic. You were very interactive. You asked all the right questions, and I hope it helped. Tell your friends to come follow us at Wednesday night OWCP Chats with Chris and Gini. Definitely go to YouTube, our YouTube page, and subscribe there. Because those videos never get taken down.
Yeah, if you missed the beginning, we told you that Facebook Meta is taking down everybody's videos, not just us, anybody that's had videos that went live. So the best place to find all of our videos now, anything from 2016 over, you have to go to YouTube, Wednesday night OWCP Chats with Chris and Gini, click the subscribe button.
And Frank said he's going to tell Rich Ray, Frank, you tell my brother Richie, I miss him, love him, can't wait to see him again.
Oh, he knows we're coming. He's my special guy.
All right,
guys, have a good night. See you next week.
Thank you.